So in the early 1960s, the funk was a mere glint in Mother Nature's eye. But one soul artist worked out a way to start the evolution. James Brown began his career back in the 1950s as an R&B singer. By the mid-60s, he becomes so influential and famous in black music, he was nicknamed the Godfather of Soul. But in 1967, James Brown left soul music behind. With one song called Cold Sweat, he showed the world the future, and that future was funk.
Cold Sweat was the song that just blew me away. That groove, it was different from earlier James Brown. Something happened.
I think the thing that happens with Cold Sweat is that that's where he really turned the whole band into a drum. You know, so every element in there is just kicking.
That was it. When they put that break in that record, yeah, and the horns, everything, the bass, Bootsy, the whole thing.
Yeah, that whole line was, I don't care, man.
Banner about your past, banner.
There was more emphasis on the bass and drum locking. It became harder. It was more intense with less.
James Brown surrounded himself with the best musicians money could buy. But it was him alone who decided what was funky. He'd get the band members to jam together, and then one by one, he'd get each of them to play what he was hearing in his head.
You had to really try to understand what he was talking about. You know, he would say things like do 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 boom do 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 do, and it wouldn't really be anything, you know. But a bass player could try to think something like what he do, and he said, no, that's not it. Then they do something else. He said, no, that's that. Then they do, he said, that's it, that's it. And when he said that's it, you just kept what you were doing.
Previously, with rhythm and blues, rock and roll, and soul music, the emphasis had been on the second and fourth beats of the bar. What James Brown did was to stress the first beat. This became the bedrock of funk music, the rhythm of the one.
There was that emphasis on boom, God, boom, God, boom, you know, his drum beats. Yeah.
James really conceived of the entire band as bringing these strong rhythmic accents, emphasizing that first beat again and again and again.
I mean, you know, every beat is there, but there's always an accent on the one, which is very African, you know, from way back in Africa. That was that rhythm that would just, you know, stir the soul, as it were.
All of a sudden, groove was more important, whereas in years past, the middle part was very important, and the vocal. Because remember, James wasn't doing a lot of lyrical, melodic vocals. He was high, good God, because he was just basically riding and dancing on top of that groove.
It not only kind of changed the way listeners thought about, you know, what dance music was, what funky music was. But a lot of songwriters and musicians, a lot of his peers.
All that we know, all that we do, James is the father. You know, they ain't call him Godfather for nothing. He was the man that taught us all how to be funky.
James Brown was funk's original pioneer, his cold sweat showing the path of the revolution. But the funk was not yet fully formed.